All right, we are back. This is the Cheech and Manny show. We are the People's Podcast. I mean, I'm joined by the People's Basis, Cheech Carrero. What's going on, my friend?
Not much, Manny. How's everything? How you doing?
Dude, life is good, man. We just wrapped up Born to Run,
Oh yeah,
exciting episode. We had some technical difficulties because of some actual demons for some reason,
yeah.
but
We're
we
on
made.
a marathon today. Of podcasting. I'd like to give a shout out to Potter's Field. We had a great set the other night at Freebirds. We're going to be doing a show in Long Island on the 18th at I think the place is called Carry On something. I got to get the name. I should have wrote it down. We're gonna have like an hour set somewhere in Long Island. So when I get the name, I should have wrote it down, but check out the Pottersfield Instagram for the name of the place. So, so we've been talking a lot about crazy shit, really, serial killers, uh, supernatural, paranormal psychology.
We had like a phone call conversations before, and we got to record these conversations.
I know our conversations are almost better than the shows, are just as
I
good.
know,
I'm
I
like,
know,
fuck, we could film this.
like recorded and like releases,
Good audio or something of it.
yeah. But yeah, and we're gonna release an episode on Charles Starkweather for those. So
Yes.
our introduction, well, not even introduction, but our continuing series on serial killers, and
Yeah, and it's moving up. Like it's probably like eight. Starkweather might be 7 or 8 on serial killers and stuff.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's we've been on this like dark crime, supernatural, it's really good stuff.
Ed
And
Kemper's coming up. I'm writing an epic Ed Kemper episode, which,
yeah, we were talking and dissecting how sick that human
in
is.
my opinion, and we're gonna do our top five probably serial killers. Ed Kemper right now is the sickest one I've studied. Next,
And by the way, when we did our top five, we're not saying that like a top five record. We're saying the top five
yeah,
most
these poor,
gruesome, which
these
is the
poor
most
victims.
sickest, awful human being.
Ed Kemper is the worst, next to the Moors murders in England in the 60s. And I've been studying a lot of serial killers in England at the time in the 70s. What was going on in America was going on in England. Like when the Son of Sam was happening from 77, 76 to 78, there was a psychopath named the Yorkshire Ripper
Hmm.
destroying East Yorkshire. It was the same story as Son of Sam. It's the same thing. Girls were dyeing their hair, and people didn't want to leave their house. And these are like little country villages where, it wasn't cities. It was really scary for these people. So but today I think we're gonna just have a chat about the paranormal world that's out there.
It's like our favorite world. And actually the star of this is gonna be correct me if I'm wrong, the Warrens. They're gonna
Yeah, the
be talking
Warrens.
about the Warrens, and they're famously portrayed in the Conjuring series.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's other series, but The Conjuring definitely brought up that name, the Warrens. And actually, there, I believe, is Conjuring. I think it's the Last Rites.
Well, the new movie, and this will be like maybe when we're done with this, put it out because the movie comes out on September 4th. It's called The Conjuring: The Last Rites, and we'll talk a little bit about the story. The Smurl family in Pennsylvania, which I've been studying since I was about 10 or 12. When I had a book called The Haunted. Um, and what I want to do is I want to, talk about it and then see how much they Hollywood it and make it, untrue or true. Or hopefully they stick to the story because there's a lot to this story. Not as exciting as The Conjuring in my opinion. Not as exciting as The Nun because The Nun, Valak was the demon. who that was a real nun that Warren had seen in England, because everyone knows Lorraine Warren was a trance medium clairvoyant, and the nun followed her around a
Right.
lot. So that's true that she did see a nun in England. And then you have the other classics. You have the Enfield uh, haunting, which was I think it was a Conjuring 2. Then, like I said, the Nun. Then, of course, everybody's favorite, Annabelle, which I thought was amazing. And then maybe the lesser known one, The Devil Made Me Do It. I
Mhm.
don't know if you've ever seen that one,
One I have not seen.
where somebody got possessed and killed somebody because he was possessed, and they went to court for it, saying that the devil was in his body and should he go to jail? And that's a tough one to fucking prove. That's a really you gotta. I forgot. I think he did end up going to jail. It's been a while for me on that. But do you want to get started on? I think it's a mistake. What's happening right now in the paranormal psychology world, and I
Let's
really,
let's start there because
yeah,
it's
we'll
kind of
leave,
relevant. Then we'll because this will be like by it'll be a short episode, but just like
yeah,
but let's start there and because we talked about a certain house that
yeah.
actually is in our backyard, Connecticut.
I've been to the house quite a few.
Right, right. And I guess start why is it either maybe you want to say controversial or maybe a shame?
Well, okay. Oh God, I don't know where to start. So
Well, I guess I'll ask you this: where is the Annabelle doll, the real one?
the Annabelle doll is housed, well, could be on tour right now with some lunatic's van, but unfortunately, sadly, I think Daniel Rivera passed away
Hmm.
with the Annabelle doll in his trunk. I don't know how true this is. When he was in New Orleans, had it on tour, and Tony Spera and him worked together for a couple of years, so he knew what he was doing. He was definitely working with one of the greats, and he probably worked with Lorraine because he's been around. He's like 51, he was 51. But supposedly, when they got to New Orleans, a famous mansion burned down the minute Annabelle got there, and they supposedly said you could see slaves' ghosts in the windows and on the plantation when this was going on. You can check it out on YouTube. So poor guy dies of natural causes. Okay, everyone has an opinion, but I don't know. You have the most evil thing in the world, according to Ed and Lorraine Warren. The most evil thing in the world is Annabelle. The closest thing to Satan in hell is Annabelle, and it's in your back seat, and you die in your hotel of natural causes. I don't know if it's natural causes. I'm a believer in the supernatural. You know, I've had many opportunities to see Annabelle. I've gotten to see the great John Zaffis speak, who is the nephew of the Warrens. I did see Tony Spera speak. I met him. I saw Lorraine, but I just got a quick hello from her. She was bombarded by people. But just to go back to the Warrens, just to give a history on them, they go back to the 50s when they met as teenagers. So it's a romantic story. You know, um, According to Ed lived in a haunted house. And him and his twin brother would see ghosts all the time, and he felt that he was called to do something about this. That he was a natural demonologist. This is
That's,
what Ed felt.
what was it called though? Does it go in detail? Like what kind of what kind
His
of
his calling. He didn't want to be a priest, but a call to help people get rid of bad things in their house, spirits, demons, poltergeists, specters, that kind of thing. Um, Lorraine was a clairvoyant and a trance medium from a very young age.
Mm.
Both of them were a Roman Catholic. I believe they were Irish background, very religious people. So Jesus is a huge part of and God of their belief system and how to exercise mainly demons. You know, that's what they dealt with. So they met.
I will say an interesting thing about that
Yeah,
is, as far as I know, the Catholic Church have not offered their, um, you know how there's exorcists that you need to go to the Vatican, and
yeah.
so they operate kind of like on their own. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, they were like away from the Catholic Church, but um, the priest from the Catholic Church did help them. They, I don't, I guess, yeah, it was Catholic priests that would help them. You know, I don't know if the guys, it could have been Malachi. They could have worked with Malachi Martin at some point in their career,
That would be interesting.
but they met, they got married, and they bought that house in the 50s in Monroe, Connecticut. Ed was a painter, and they just started out. This is crazy. They started going to research old haunted houses, and they would knock on the people's doors and say, "Do you mind if we come in and just look around? Because I'm a psychic and Ed's an artist, and your
Well,
house."
now another thing, Cheech, how did they make their money? Like, cause
They made their money. They chart. The only thing they charged for, if you needed them to come to your house, was expenses, hotel. They never charged the fee.
right. But even before that, what did they do? Because Ed is a painter, it's cool, but you can't really make a living unless you sell
Um,
paintings.
I don't know what they did in the beginning. I don't know if they didn't have day jobs or anything. They Ed was teaching a painting. You know,
Mhm.
Lorraine I don't think ever had a job, but they quickly learned how to hone their skills by going into people's houses and telling them it's haunted and exercising them. And then they started the New England, paranormal psychology, where they gave lectures. That's where they made their money, on their lectures, and they had courses you can take on how to be, a paranormal person back in the 50s and 60s. So they started to do this, and they weren't known. They weren't known yet. They were just doing colleges, and wasn't until Amityville Horror, and I always bring this lady up. Lauren did the Dio, seen them speak in Long Island and got them on the case, and that's what made Ed and Ed, Ed, I'm losing my train of thought here. Ed and Lorraine, very popular from Amityville Horror, and then everything took off, sort of underground, and they did their lectures. They did a bunch of other houses. They did the Conjuring house. They did the Enfield Horror. All the movies that you see that they did. Then they would
It's
open
like, I think you mentioned already, I think, Amityville
Amityville. Yeah, that's what made them famous.
came for a consultation.
Yeah, yeah. And then of course they got a book deal out of it, and the movie, and they made some money with that. So that helped them get on their feet and get their name out there. But they were not known like they are today until The Conjuring came out. They used to have these things around Halloween. You can have dinner with the Warrens, and you go to Union Cemetery, then you go to the museum. So they were making money.
And you know this because, like before social media, um, you knew of like these opportunities there or
Oh
events.
yeah, it was in the newspaper, and as a young kid, they would. Oh, they also wrote books. I
Right.
forgot. A lot.
And were they really famous at the time? She's like, were they like,
No, no, they were just ghost hunters named the Warrens that I remember, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this book," and I bought it, and it was called The Haunted. Then I had like a collection of all the ghost stories. The Conjuring was in it, the Enfield Horror.
Mm.
Uh, 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 in Scotland, there was a real famous haunting that they talked about. Then around Halloween,
So they were pretty much part of the supernatural cult world.
they
Those no
they
knew of
were
them.
they were the cult world. There was nobody
But
doing it.
nobody else. Okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny because we talked that, and I gave we were talking that this sounds like they're Ghostbusters. Like
I think the movie mocked them a little bit.
mock that idea, I think. Yeah, like in New York, they one of the characters is some professor of paranormal psychology at Columbia University.
There were paranormal psychologists. Hans Holzer invented it, and I compared him like he was like you know friggin' I don't know the like the Jerry Lee Lewis and in Little Richard, and then the Warrens are the Beatles of the
Right, right, right.
to add music as a reference. But so they did their thing throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like I said, I did go to one of their things. I've been to Union Cemetery. I've been on their property. Um, and I could have saw Annabelle, but I chose not to. I met Tony Sparrow and I met John Zaffis. A lot of lectures, so I learned a lot about the pieces, the 175 pieces that are held in this museum. So when The Conjuring came out, I knew all about the Warrens. They started to get popular rising up in the 2000s. Around Halloween, they would be on Amityville shows and stuff. And I'd be like, oh, there's the Warrens, there's the Warrens. But they weren't household names. Like you said, you never heard of them to The Conjuring.
I never even knew. I mean,
So
I
you're,
did
you're
know paranormal investigators and ghost hunters, but
yeah,
nothing like that.
your generation got it after The Conjuring. So when The Conjuring came, they blew up and they became rock stars. But
Mm.
Ed died to see this, unfortunately. Ed died in 2006. He
Mm.
passed away. Lorraine died a few years ago, and she got to see the success. So they're rock stars now. Lorraine's a rock star. Um, um, their nephew, Tony Sparrow, is pretty much the one who controls everything. Now, the daughter, I believe her name is Judy, she didn't want anything to do with this pretty much. She held all of the estate. That was her thing. But I think, she had a lot of bad memories of that house, and her childhood they were great parents, but they were always on the road. They were like a band. They were going, they'd get a call to go to Chicago to go summon a demon. They'd get a call to go to Europe.
No kid likes that because it
Yeah.
keeps them.
And she was stuck in a house where underneath her supposedly was a portal to hell. So could you imagine that nightmare with a nanny or an aunt or whatever? I don't know the story. So
No.
their success, the Conjuring movies, now the Last Rites, they're the rock stars. Everybody, and I compared them to Ozzy. Back in the 70s, nobody really knew Ozzy outside of heavy metal till he did his reality show. Then everybody knew Ozzy until The Conjuring came out. Then everybody knew the Warrens. Unfortunately, Ed did not see that success, and it's a shame because he worked really hard. You know,
I
get
mean, they built up,
yeah,
they built themselves up. It's
yeah.
kind of cool. It's like they found their, niche and
And what's the guy's name? Juan, the director.
the director, yeah.
He really put the stuff to life. He adds a lot of Hollywood to it, which you have to, because the stories are pretty straightforward. They're hauntings. They're almost the same thing in every house. So you got to change things up in the movie, and I get it. Um, so they're really successful. The house is there. The museum is there. Lorraine dies. Um, and Tony Sparrow is the caregiver or whatever of the estate with the daughter. And if you go back to videos that I've seen from 10, 15 years ago, they're in the museum. And this is on YouTube. I sent it to you, Manny. Lorraine is like in being interviewed saying, I don't like being down here in this museum. And there's a hallway that leads to another room, and that's the portal to hell, supposedly. Ed says the same thing. Ed says, you don't want to be down here alone. You do not want to touch these things by yourself. And Tony Sparrow says the same thing. He says, yes, this is a very dangerous area. If you come to visit, we'll guide you through the tour. They bless you with holy water. They read a prayer over you. Then you leave. Now I've seen a couple relics when I think it was on the Tony Sparrow tour, and it was mainly videos and films, that they would show exorcisms and things like that. It was interesting. I didn't have to sign any paperwork, but you got to sign paperwork to see Annabelle because they don't want to be responsible if something comes back to you. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it happened to Daniel Rivera, but I'm not saying it didn't happen. And who wants to bring back anything? Because all these relics are from demonic possessions, specters, ghosts, horrible things, mainly with the devil, or satanic rites or just bad stuff. So, with that being said, about all three of them saying, don't come down here alone, don't touch these things, this is a portal to hell. They said this in the video.
I
Okay.
will say, why did they collect all these items?
Um,
That was the case.
yeah, they would pick up these things from the cases they were on. And Ed was an artist. He loved to draw, pictures of haunted houses. He loved relics. So if you had a relic that was haunted, they gave it to Ed. Ed would do the research on it. Not everything I think is from all the cases, but I
Right.
would say 90% is. I could be wrong, but a lot of that stuff is definitely from the cases. So they collected all kinds of stuff from a mirror. I don't know if it came from the Conjuring house. That if you looked in it, you could summon demons. There's
Wow.
a statue that was possessed by the devil that a satanic group in Connecticut used. Um, there's Hannah Crana, the witch doll that's down there, which was the local witch. Of course, there's Annabelle. There's voodoo dolls down there. There's haunted Ouija boards. It's more than a Halloween museum. It's the real deal shit. And if you want to, go there to see it, it's very scary shit, and you might have things follow you. And like I said, they said don't touch it. It's a portal to hell. This is said 20 years ago now. So now this is where I'm confused. Matt Rife, and forgive my ignorance, I've never heard of the guy. I know he's a comedian, but I'm stuck listening to Dice Clay, Sam Kennison, and Don Rickles. I couldn't give a shit about modern comics.
Half our audience won't even know what you're talking about.
Honestly, if it's not Don Rickles or Dice, I do like Jack's Funny. Throw out the Jack's Funny. He's out there on YouTube and stuff. New comic. Matt Rife and Elton Castell, who's a YouTuber, who are ghost hunters. They're. And let me just state my opinion about that. Everybody's a friggin' ghost hunter right now. So I'm not knocking them. I'm sure, they're ghost hunters. I myself, for a short time, became a minor amateur ghost hunter with a bottle of absinthe underneath my arm at every ghost haunted house I went to. And I told you these stories. But so I was a ghost hunter for a short time, but not like these lunatics with, I don't mean to call them lunatics, but with these devices and getting, the things to talk. I don't think that's true. I think a true ghost hunter needs a trance medium to have the entity go through a human being and speak. I do believe in the temperature where you can, it could be a cold spot and you could be like 80 degrees in the house, but 5 degrees in that spot, and they put a light bulb, a flashlight, and it could turn on and off. I've seen that on shows. That could be real, but most modern day ghost hunters, I think, the Warrens were the last of the Mohegans. Maybe the guy Zach from that ghost show, but I don't know. I'm not really a fan of. There's nobody like the Warrens out there. There's no one's like a Hans Holzer. Hans Holzer's daughter is very cool. She's keeping it alive. I give her some respect for the ghost hunting. But why Matt Rife? Why this guy Ellen Castillo? They bought the house and they bought the museum. Like, why did Tony Sparrow?
What? Like,
Why
buy, I mean, you got the money, I guess, but we were talking about
it's not a lot of money. I looked it up. I
it
mean,
really isn't. I mean, it's a lot, but in terms of
I
per
mean, is Tony Sparrow? Are you would think the Warrens would be getting millions? Maybe they are getting millions of dollars from the movies because it's their story. They
yeah,
got
definitely,
the
definitely.
Warrens estate. They got to be getting a giant chunk from these movies. So Tony Sparrow and Judy are making money from their parents, and well deserved, and the grandson. And I'm going to bring up the grandson. But after Tony Sparrow and the Warrens said, "Do not go in that museum. Don't touch those things. Don't go down there alone." Why now? So these two guys bought it, and the 750 haunted artifacts are under. I'm going to say this word wrong. Custodianship owners. So they only own it for 5 years, but they can't sell it. But God knows what they could do with it. They
Mhm.
could do whatever they want with it. No one's watching them. Um, so I think I could be wrong, and people that are watching this, if I'm wrong, please comment. I think they bought the house for 750. I'm sorry. $6,000. $600,000. I've been to the house. It's not it's an old house. It was probably built in the 40s or the 50s. Nothing spectacular, so it's not worth a lot of money. And then
Well, it's funny. It wasn't. Was it open to the public?
it was open to the public from the 50s till 2019. The museum.
Right, because I saw a post of some YouTuber, I'm sorry, Instagram influencer who was near the house, but wasn't open to the public as far
They
as.
closed it in 19 because of zoning issues. They finally caught up with them that they couldn't build. They built it on the side of the house, but no, they weren't popular enough then
Mm.
to have a zone guy come in. After the movies, more people went to the museum, and they had to shut it down. So now, I don't know. I hope this guy doesn't like. I don't think he's gonna add anything to it. I think he's gonna keep it, open it up for people to sleep there and go into the museum. Now, I don't know. How do you feel about that, Manny?
Purchasing the museum?
People being allowed to sleep there and go into the museum.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I guess you would have to be you would have to believe in this stuff, right? So I can see the skeptic being like, you know, but for the spiritually and religious and people that have studied this,
Yeah,
that is crazy. Dude, I would not go near anything. Not even like I would even like I know you told a story I think on the air already of your experience sleeping at the boarding house.
yeah, yeah.
Dude, you couldn't I can only I don't know how people can do I really don't
I,
know.
I got out of it because it was too. I got too scared. I got out of the ghost hunter um, idea because I couldn't handle it. Those people are playing with something that is not natural. It could mess your life up. It could follow you, especially if it's demonic. I believe in that shit. I know you. I know you believe in it. Um, and you have to be trained in it. You have to study demonology.
Well, that's why the only ones that can, and again, I love how we talked about this. First of all, the idea of an exorcist, right? In like in the Catholic religion is interesting. So on many levels, the person knew coming into this, in a way, it invites you to Christianity.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
makes you aware of this world. Now, in the Catholic world, there are exorcists who are, first of all, they are ordained and approved by the bishop to exorcise demons.
yeah.
Right? It's not just anybody. And you don't choose to be an exorcist. I'm sorry, you don't have a say in it. Like you're
No,
not sign me
you're
up. I want to be an
chosen.
exorcist. You're chosen by something higher. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So,
That's how Ed Warren felt.
right, right.
Warren, he was.
That's it. That's why I asked you about his calling because that's interesting.
Yeah, but and now they have demonology classes online. I mean, no, 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 like no. You want to be a demonologist, right? And you feel like you have a calling. You find John Zaffis, or you find somebody connected to the Warrens or some heavy duty person, and you study with them for friggin' years, like studying the base, and then you go out into the world, and then you could chase demons if that's your thing. But people today are picking up their phone, going to haunted houses, and I'm not a believer of the phone when you put it near a grave or a haunted house, and it's like Satan, hell. I mean, no, I'm not buying that crap. I've used those things, and it's always staticky. The thing I used was my phone and just hit record. and you be in a haunted cemetery and you listen to it later. It could be the wind, it could be leaves, but you may hear weird things. You know what I mean? Just from a regular recorder, from my experience. But I hope that Matt Rife and this other Elton Cart, I say his name wrong, Castee, doesn't let these people touch the 750 items. I have
No.
videos of a girl, hope it's a joke, hope it's AI, playing with Annabelle and cutting a piece of her hair off. Now, she was a trance medium and she stood there and she had the device. And another girl's asking her questions. And of course, it's like, kill Satan, you know. So, like, I don't know. I'm not knocking it. Maybe they're young. They look young. They look like they're in their 20s. Maybe they're trans.
Yeah, young people do dumb things like that.
Maybe it's the new. I, I'm glad that ghost hunting is still popular
Oh,
and
yeah. I mean, The Conjuring really helped with that. I mean, it's been a thing. Like,
it goes back to like Madame Blavatsky in the whole spiritual movement, the Fox sisters. You know, on that's my door just opened by itself. You know, um, it goes back to the Fox. Anybody into this, you know, check out the Fox sisters. They were the first real spiritualists to do this. Supposedly, they were frauds with tapping and stuff like that. Madame
the
Blavatsky.
Warrens have been accused of being frauds too. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have their detractors, and a lot of the evidence is kind of compelling. Um,
yeah,
I do think that the house is. It's a shame that these two clowns bought it. Like, I wish
yeah.
went to maybe somebody else. And I love what you said before. I think you didn't share. It was during our phone call that they should fix it up. Decorated or whatever because the house is just it's just like it's weird.
I snuck around the house, and it looked almost like a like it
No,
was,
no, tell me now. When was this? When you went to the house?
probably about 10 years ago.
Oh, so it was still open to the public as a museum.
No, we went when the museum was closed that night. We could have got arrested, you know. And like Conjuring might have just come out. Me and this person, we were whacked out of our minds, and I looked in the windows and you know, like I'd seen the museum, and then I went back in the car. Then a priest came out, a priest, and he
Wow.
threw holy water. Then I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. You know, that was my, you know, my Warren's story. Um, Wish I could have met Lorraine, just said hi to her at one of those conventions. But anyway, so you know, that's that. Just surprised that Tony Spera sold it. The grandson, their child.
And how much was it? They sold it? How much?
I read $600,000 because the house is not a mansion. It's an
No, and it's in Monroe, Connecticut, so it's
yeah,
really out there.
yeah.
I mean, I never even heard of Monroe.
Oh
Like,
no, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place.
no, I know, but from people here, it's like it's definitely far though.
It's far away. There's a Union Cemetery in there, which they used a lot. They wrote a lot of books about it. The ghost in that cemetery, the famous one, is the woman in white. You can see her. She's a bride. She floats around the cemetery. I went looking for her one night. I did all kinds of fucking stupid shit, you know. But I walked in that cemetery, and the craziest thing is, you know, whacked out of my mind with a flashlight, looking for the lady in white, and I swear to God, I shine it on a grave, and this is Johnny fucking Winter, and I'm like, Johnny Winter? Wait a second, and I Google it with Johnny Winter, the great guitar player. He's buried in Union Cemetery, the most haunted cemetery in the United States. You know, just a fun fact. But um, I really hope these guys do the right thing, and we don't have revelations come to life with 750 artifacts that are satanic, possessed, and come from evil sources.
I mean, they said it's like a pathway to hell, like a doorway to hell.
Go and I send you the YouTube. Lorraine, Ed, and Tony Sparrow. It's got to be 15 years ago. Said where we are,
Artifacts that have dark energy. They have
all dark energy, from satanic rituals to possessed houses to hauntings, voodoo rituals. The darkest, most evilest shit in the world is in there. And Lorraine said she doesn't like being down there because she sees things, she feels things. Ed said you don't want to be down here for too long. So did Tony Sparrow 20 years ago. They had a cable. This is where the Warrens were at 20 years ago. They had a public access cable channel.
Hmm.
That's it. They went from, and that's why I'm so happy for the success. They went from a public access channel only in Connecticut, which you couldn't see. I saw it later on in YouTube that showed once a week, and they would talk about their cases, and then boom to the big screen. So they went from playing the bars to Madison Square Garden, and it took time. It took time, but they got there.
A lot of time, but and I think no doubt from the Conjuring movie.
Yeah, and and someone like Hans Holzer did not get as popular because he didn't want the fame or anything, but he was. We talked about Hans on the Am
Yeah, yeah.
episode, and he's the other person that made it popular. I like Zach. I think he's really cool. His show is cool, but how much of that shit is staged? How much of it is real? So that's just my 2 cents on that. Oh, what these are some of the things you could see in the museum: a real vampire coffin, a satanic altar, a demon mask, Annabelle, the Conjuring Bureau, a mirror that if you stare into it, you can reflect another dimension that demons could come out of. But now I've been staring in my mirror and I'm creeping myself out because the world looks so different behind me, after I read that. So now this leading up to The Conjuring, The Last Rites. So any questions about the museum? Any last thoughts on that?
I would. I think you were talking before. I would never visit the museum, even if it was free. I would never go near any of those objects. Especially the Annabelle doll has a lot of notoriety, and
Yeah.
it's crazy because you look at it, it's like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Dude, my sister had one. My aunt has the real Annabelle doll in Arizona. I remember going to Arizona and seeing it, and I'm like, just get the fucking thing away from me. I don't want to see this thing.
Yeah,
It's amazing something so innocent could be so evil.
yeah,
They,
yeah.
they made it look evil for the movie because they didn't want it to look like a rat.
Of course, and they're trying to resemble Chucky the doll or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah.
the real doll, it's very. You're like, this is
It's
it?
a it's a 1970s doll. My sister, we had miniature ones. I had Andy and she had Ann. Now just the face alone, you have nightmares about something so innocent.
Yeah, yeah, and like there, I'm pretty sure it's that doll. I heard reports that it'll move places.
Oh yeah.
Like
Well, when the lady got it, it was writing notes to her. That's how the Warrens got it. So the lady bought it, I believe, or it was given as a gift.
and that's what the movie's based on, right? Annabelle.
Yeah, and then the lady was a nurse. She'd come home from work. Annabelle would be on the bed when she left, but it would be on the floor. Oh, it just fell. The next day, it'd be in a rocking chair, rocking. Then she
Mhm.
started to get notes. Hi, I miss you. Did you have a good day at work? All that stuff. Then the Warrens came in, and then they found. I think it had to do with voodoo. I'm not sure 100% of what possesses Annabelle, but it had to do with some kind of ritual, either satanic or voodoo. If you know, I'm not
Voodoo sounds right.
not an expert on Annabelle, but if you know what possesses her, please comment in the comments. It's something fucking evil, that's for damn sure. I definitely think it's more satanic than voodoo. You know.
Right. There's a connection here. Did you hear about? I'm not even gonna pull it up. Robert the doll.
Oh, I know about Robert the Doll in San Francisco.
Very similar too, and like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
just conduits of like darkness, and I think it's voodoo. I always wonder with satanic stuff. I don't think the demons go in dolls like that. They could. They're not. This is my opinion, but I think they go in humans mostly. But
That's true. That's true. Or
that
they're transferred to a non-material object, to a
there's
material.
dark magic and voodoo. I mean,
Yeah,
they're definitely not to say now, is it the dark arts of the of demons and Satan? Yeah, maybe. Like maybe for sure.
yeah.
Um and the doll, like Robert and I'm not even gonna pull it because it scares me, but and Annabelle, um, they're objects that even it's crazy because there was I think we were talking about this. I'm not sure if it was you or my brother that sent me a there was actually I think it was my brother. There is a podcast, a true crime podcast, but the way
Yeah,
they do true crime and supernatural stuff is that
yeah,
they put a little humor. But they were saying they were looking at how they treat Annabelle the doll. They do it very carefully. They
yeah.
please they put like holy water on
Yeah.
it.
Well, what Daniel Rivera did, he built a new case for it. He built a traveling case, and oh God, you would know the saints. I can't remember the saints, but he put pictures of certain saints in there. He stained it with holy water. It has in the back of her, it has you know, all religious relics and everything. So basically, they should never open it because they want to keep once it's trapped behind glass, it shouldn't really do anything unless you fuck with it. You could look at it and stuff and it won't, supposedly. Maybe it's Saint I want to say Saint Augustus. I don't know. If you look it up, you'll probably find it. But the guy, he rebuilt it. He put holy water in the stain, all these new uh, features that are going to make it more safe with religious relics and holy water. And of course, there's an evil tarot card on there with Satan, which I don't know why that's on there, but
Hmm.
I don't know. So, you know, I saw him and Tony Sparrow 2 years ago talking about the traveling case that they put her in. They take her out. They only took her to Mohegan Sun. They wouldn't travel too far. Now they took her all over the country. And just to warn people about this, watch the video with Ed, Lorraine, and Tony saying the museum is the most haunted place in the world. The objects are the most haunted things in the world. It's a gateway to hell, that hallway leading to the other room where they used to teach classes. So before you go there, and you probably are, these guys are probably going to let you touch the things.
It's like
Here she is. Jesus.
it's crazy. It's like
Oh,
this is the podcast. I was trying to look for the video. These two are kind of clowning the whole process of them taking care of the doll, removing it from the glass case.
because they're probably not believers, like
They don't understand. It's like it,
when the priest takes it out, they have to bless it. They have to say a prayer on themselves and everyone around them, and then they put it in another case. I've seen pictures of Ed holding the friggin' thing like a baby. I mean, it's nuts. Um, so just a warning to people, watch those videos when Ed, Lorraine, and Tony are saying how evil this shit is. You know, be careful. And why and another thing, why is it coming? Why is the movie coming out now? And these two guys bought it and similar. Is it a money thing? Is it really that bad? Did Tony Sparrow pull a freaking John Mackey on us, man? Did he pull a John Mackey on us? But no money has been disclosed. At least with Mackey, he got his fucking $30 billion. With Sparrow, I didn't hear any money. I didn't hear. I'm sure there's money being made from all these movies, and well deserved. The estate, the Warren estate, the daughter and Tony deserve it. Uh, and I hope John Zaffis is getting something, the nephew and the grandson, because they're all a part of this. But Tony Sparrow was like the third Warren. He would travel with them. He's seen a lot of stuff. John Zaffis told me some really crazy stories too. You know, we did a haunting in Connecticut, and he went downstairs. They found out were living in a funeral home, and they didn't know. You know, and then the kid had cancer, but he was also being possessed. John Zaffis went downstairs and he said he seen something he could not talk about, and he ran upstairs and he got sick, and he stayed in his house for like a month, and he couldn't get out, and he couldn't get the nightmares out of his head. And this guy's a professional. He's a demonologist as well, I believe. You know, John Zaffis. Everyone should check out John Zaffis. Amazing videos, amazing stories, amazing guy. Check out Tony Sparrow, the nephew. I mean the son-in-law, and so and Hans Holzer's daughter. She's another one. I forget her name, but she has a really cool show about preserving her father's legacy on the other end of the spectrum. So just on that note, anything before we go on to the movie quickly?
I think we'll end on the movie, but no, I think the house is very interesting. Like I think you, it's in Connecticut. It's something I would never visit myself. There was we were talking about let me see if I can find it. This dude, I think I sent it to you. I'm trying to remember his name.
Here, let me tell you, man. When you're whacked out of your mind and you go to the Warrens' house at 2 o'clock in the morning,
This one, look.
and like you're on private property and you know you can get arrested and you don't care, and you're peeking in the window. I mean, this is what me and this guy were doing, and like we went back to the car. The priest came out and was like, throwing holy water. He probably thought we were some kind of cult. We just were just like, oh, fucking Warren's house is so fucking cool, because it almost, I mean, it's private property, but you could drive up the dirt road and then there's the house.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
we could have got arrested. We weren't trying to break in or anything. We were just,
But I figure they probably have had experience of people coming over, so it's like,
yeah. We were trying to find the museum and look in the window, but the museum's on the other side. And I think a light went on, and the guy came out, and it was a priest. And, he was just throwing holy water at us. And we were just like, let's get the fuck out of here, and we did. My story.
no,
Uh,
and take a look at this. This is the video. I just want to put a little audio of it, but look, it's
Did you know that
this
the
young kid
Annabelle
that
doll lives in Connecticut and this is the official house that she lived in? Oh my lord. I don't know if some of y'all believe in this type of stuff, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I do. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in all that energy. I ain't gonna care. Now y'all gonna be like, Jimmy, why you ain't get close? Because hell nah. It's the close we gonna get. It's the close I'm gonna get. Oh, by the way, it is private property. You can no longer go on the property anymore. That is the museum in the back where the doll is. I believe the doll is on tour right now, so
yeah, like
still
you
the
said.
energy is crazy.
This was yeah, you're right.
Back.
And it's funny these two podcasts. I mean, I should ask my brother. They start making fun of the whole process. Like it's like, and they're like, are they gonna give the doll a bath now? Like they're playing and they're joking. These guys are playing with dolls. Like I
yeah.
don't take it seriously, but the thing is, it's a haunted a lot of haunted objects. But anyway, let's move on to the movie that's
I
gonna come.
mean, some people might think I'm not saying this, but it's real. I believe in this stuff. I believe all those objects are evil and possessed. So anyway, Conjuring, Last Rites. It's about the Smurl haunting. Now, I go way back with the Smurl haunting. I read the book called The Haunted in high school or middle school. Um, and then they turned it. It's a movie already called The Haunted. It's on YouTube for free, so you can watch that and get an idea what it's about. And I have to go back and watch it. I watched it. I watched it on TV in 1991 when it aired, and then I watched it a couple of years back. So the Smurl family. Well, first we'll talk about the Conjuring. I got to say Patrick Wilson and maybe am I saying her name wrong? Vera Farminga.
He has a weird last name.
They play the Warrens great. I think they in some weird way they do look like them as a younger version. I think they're excellent actors. You know, and then we broke down all the movies. So to talk about this movie, The Smurl Haunting. So in 1974 in West Piston, Connecticut,
Hmm.
the Smurl family. This is very similar to Amityville, but it's almost like a watered down Amityville.
Hmm.
Not as exciting, but there is some really scary shit. They moved into the house, and basically the house was normal house. Everything was cool. Uh, then they started to renovate. So now I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong about the timeline, but when you renovate a house and you knock down a wall, there are things that might be a haunted house or demonic house, not any house, you know. There might be things trapped behind that wall that are there. When you crack that wall open, boom, they come into your house. This is a common thing that the Warrens talked about. John Zaffis talked about. People would notice they'd be living in their house for 40 years, and then all of a sudden they do renovation and their house gets haunted, you know? And also, if you're having a negative experience in your house, if someone in your house is doing bad shit, and I don't mean like Ouija boards and stuff, I mean molestation, rape, that can manifest satanic poltergeists and things like that. That's also stuff I learned from these people like John Zaffis. Um, so they knock the wall down, and all of a sudden they feel a demon is possessing their house. Crazy shit is happening. Basically, what's happening? They're they okay. So it's the Smurls. What are their names? I forget their first names. Let me see. I got this backward. I wrote this backwards. Well, it's basically the father, the mother, the daughter, and then the father, Mr. Smurl's parents. So it's a lot of people moving in there. So Mr. Smurl's Jack. I'm sorry, I got their names. Jack Smurl, Janet Smurl. I don't have the daughter's name, and I don't have the parent's name. Jack Smurl's mother has a heart attack as soon as they do the renovation and they feel the demonic possession come in. So all this shit is happening. The dog gets thrown against the wall. The daughter gets thrown down a flight of stairs. Um, they hear noises, loud noises at night. They smell bad odors. They see very dark figures walking around. This is what makes this interesting. When the wife was sleeping, she was being molested by a demon.
Mm.
Now, supposedly, when Mr. Smurl, Jack, was watching a baseball game, he got raped. Give me 1 second. Yes, I said raped. He got raped by a succubus. Okay, we all know what a succubus is. It's a female vampire. Okay, so with all that shit happening, they don't call the Warrens yet. They call the local priest. He tries shit. It doesn't work. Then finally, they bring in some scientific people, and they're like, I don't believe you. You know, this is crazy. They bring in a psychologist. And then finally, you know, to ask them questions, is there anything going on? Any crazy stuff? Then they bring in the Warrens. So the Warrens help them figure out what's going on. And with the Warrens, they did a really good thing. The Warrens found that it was a demon in the house. Lorraine figured this out. They have audio tape of the demon. That's on YouTube. You could see that. So the Warrens put a lot of what they did in this house and they do in other houses. They did it in The Conjuring. Religious pictures, crucifixes, pictures of Jesus, things from the Bible, passages from the Bible. They play religious music. And that pisses off the demon even more. And that's what they're trying to do, aggravate it so they could kind of send it back to hell. So what happened was Lorraine figured out that, oh God, my notes are bad. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second because this is important.
And just 12 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So Lorraine figured out it was 4 ghosts. It was a young girl, an elderly woman, a violent young girl, a man who died in the house, and a demon. And that demon controlled the spirits. The demon had power over the 3 other spirits to do all that stuff. That's what Lorraine found out and told them. So they moved out of the house, but what happened was when they moved out, they were followed. They were followed by the demon and the poltergeist. Now the Warrens didn't really have anything to do with that
Hmm.
after that because they were busy doing stuff. There was a book made called The Haunted, and I guess they made money from it. Maybe the Smurls made money from it as well. Now, another thing I forgot, there was a mimicking poltergeist demon, and I think I told you what that is. That would be like I'm in my house by myself, and my mother calls me in the other room, but I know she's not home.
Hmm.
And when you're sleeping, you would hear a loved one say to you, "Hey, how are you, Manny? How are you, Cheech?" But it's somebody from your past that's dead.
Hmm.
So as time went on, they eventually had a priest come. It took from 1974 to 1989 to come and get the demon out of the house. And now they cleared the demon. The demon went away from constant uh, exorcisms going on in the house. The Warrens, I don't think, went back to the house since the 70s when it happened. They had the book that came out and they made the movie. So money was made. Once again, like Amityville, money
Hmm.
was made from this story. Not a popular case. Wondering why they're even making a movie out of it because it doesn't sound that exciting. You know, getting raped by a ghost sounds.
Said that they're running out of ideas.
I think so. It's a cool story. It's not Amityville. It's not The Conjuring in Rhode Island. It's not that good. Um, I like some of the concepts of the poltergeist following them and the mimicking demon, the succubus raping Jack, had sex with a succubus. Yeah, I wonder what that's like, But probably terrifying as fuck, right? So the movie comes out, made for TV. Now there's a guy by the name of uh, what was his name? I can't find his name. Hold on, give me a second. I can't find his name. Well, anyway, he was a paranormal psychologist and a psychologist. Oh, God, Brian, Brian something. I'm sorry. He said it was a hoax.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I found his name. Paul Hertz. He said it was an hallucination because Jack Smurl had water on his brain removed, which might have caused brain damage.
Hmm.
And that brain damage causes hallucinations. And this could all be fabricated from his imaginary brain damage that he had because his brain wasn't working right, and the family might have went along with it, and they might have said it's all, you know, it's all make let's make a story up like Amityville and make money. It's called the Warrens. So he believes it's all a hoax. So there are the naysayers who think it's fake, you know. So that's the basics of what this movie is, what this story is about. Okay. I don't know what it's going to be about in the movie. I don't know if they're going to take the four ghosts, the elderly woman, the crazy girl, the man, and of course the demon. I don't know the demon's name, who was the puppet master of these four spirits that controlled them. So that's just a breakdown of the Smurl story, not the movie. I didn't see the movie. Nothing leaked out. I don't have a bootleg. I read this book when I was 14. I seen the movie. You can watch the movie on YouTube. I recommend it before you see this movie. If you're a movie buff, to compare it. Obviously, this is going to be a way better movie. You know. So any comments on that?
Yeah, fascinating. I can't wait for the movie. I may see it. And
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
and we'll maybe touch base. We can return, circle back, and
and kind of compare, like, did they do a good job? Did they use the four spirits? Was there a succubus in it? Did Jack Smurl get raped by a succubus? Did his wife get molested by the demon? But It's not an Amityville. Doesn't I can't find a backstory. There's no Ronnie DeFeo. You know, I was trying to figure out what made this happen. Why is there a demon in the house? There's got to be a backstory, and I couldn't find anything.
I wonder what the movie will offer.
I hope they offer a backstory because that's what I'm searching
They
for.
usually do. I mean, usually. So if it's a good movie, I don't think it's directed by James Wan, I believe.
Probably not. No,
James Wan is too much. I mean, I could be wrong, but he's too much of an artistic director. I don't think. Um, and I think this is the last Conjuring movie.
I doubt it. They got so many other. You know, there's this big one in Scotland, this big haunting that went on that they never even touched. That and
Oh, it's going to be released September 5.
and I don't think The Conjuring had anything to do with the new Amityville that came out.
No, I don't think so.
So they could remake Amityville as a
Yeah, James
Conjuring
Wan
series.
is producing. Yeah, but it's cool. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga return.
Yeah, and they're great in it. I've seen a thing on YouTube where she maybe it was fake. She was making one of the movies and she got scratches on her legs in the shape of two upside down inverted crosses.
Mm.
It could have been like just to promote. I think it was for this movie. Might have been for this movie. So
Good stuff, man.
yeah, so let us know what you think about the museum
Mhm.
uh and the comedian who bought it, Matt Rife and his partner. Let us know what you think about, this case, the Smurl case. Go out and read the book, The Haunted. Watch the movie. Get yourself ready for it. It's a great story, but I don't think it's as cool as Amityville. I don't think it's as cool as The Conjuring. It almost sounds like the movie Poltergeist. You know, it has that kind of the backstory to it. Um, was Jack Smurl? Did he have brain damage from getting water? When you get water taken off your brain, I know it does something to your mind. Could he be hallucinating and seeing succubuses? There's always, the skeptics, and that could very, very well be true. It could not have been anything. The house could have just been, the dog could have fell, the girl could have fell down the flight of stairs. You know, um, Maybe Jack Smurl had a nightmare that he got raped by a succubus or his wife. There's always you never know. But like I said, I believe in all this stuff. I'm crazy.
Mm.
So we'll just see. Hopefully I gave some good information about the backstory.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna be. I'm definitely might go out and watch it and see.
Yeah,
And I know and compare and contrast what you said with what they actually do. But
yeah.
good.
You know, I'm definitely gonna watch the movie The Haunted. It's on YouTube for free, and it gets into the whole everything, but it's not going to be as it was made in 1991 for TV. So, although I got to say, one of the scariest movies I've ever seen next to The Exorcist was made for TV called Salem's Lot,
Mm.
a Stephen King movie. Um,
Made
I,
it on, I
what's
think.
that?
They remade it on Netflix, I think.
The original one. I was probably in second grade because I've always been into this shit. I watched it and it still stuck with me. There are scenes in it that, for a made-for-TV movie, man, was that friggin' scary, and that was in the '70s. So I don't remember the Haunting movie that well. I got to go back. I'm sure it was scary, but this is going to be much more scarier. So
All right, Chiefs. That was good, man. This is Chiefs Manny show. You took the lead on this one, giving
yeah,
us background on the Warrens, the house, and the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we're gonna
And
see.
maybe we'll release this just in time for the movie. You know,
I think that's the plan. I think
yeah.
that's the plan. So give a little background. If I title it "The Conjuring Last Rites" too.
Yeah, definitely. And let us know what you think of the movie compared to the real story, which I gave the basic facts about. You know, let us know what you think about Matt Rife buying the house. And how do you feel? Are you for it? Are you against it? Are you a hardcore Warrens fan like myself, where I'm totally against it 100%? Did Tony Spera pull a John Mackey and he's getting a shit ton of money and we don't know about it? I think that might be the case, and good for him. But you know, at least he's not a John Mackey because he didn't sell the artifacts.
Right.
Because you got to be out of your mind to sell that. And it was in Warren's will not to sell the artifacts.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be given a demon mask to some kid for Halloween, you know. So on that note, hope you enjoyed this, spooky episode in the Warrens' history and everything, and hopefully we'll do more of this kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. We'll circle back. Love it. All
Cool.
right, Cheech, man. All right, try not to get try not to get swooped.
No. I'm more spooked thinking about Salem's Lot because the shit's embedded in my head. There's one scene where the kid is a little kid. He was about my age, and he makes friends with this kid who's a vampire, and the kid is sleeping. And there's a scene where this kid comes up on the window and he's scratching on the window with his long vampire fingernails, and he's like, "Let me in, let me in." And dude, it took me years to block that out of my head. Years. And if those of you that are old like me and you've seen Salem's Lot, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And then the head vampire was so friggin' creepy. They just made great horror movies in the 70s. Like, I've been going down the wormhole on like Christopher Lee did a lot of satanic movies back then, and he was horrific in these movies. Oh my God, like The Devil's Apprentice and all these crazy, they're not B movies. They you know, just never made it. They're just cult classics. So please write your comments on this. Let us know what you think about everything we said. Do you think we're crazy? Are you a believer of the supernatural? No disrespect for modern ghost hunters, but put down the electronic devices and get yourself a trance medium, like what Hans Holzer said. That's the only way you're gonna really do it, in my opinion. Lorraine Warren was a trance medium. That's why this stuff worked. I don't know any trance mediums, or maybe I'd get back into it.
I don't know any myself, but yeah, or
A
true.
lot of claim to be, and I'm not doubting it. They could be, they could be, but it's a very dangerous game when you're a trance medium. A lot of residuals with that.
We'll do maybe offer an episode on that in the future. So
Definitely.
offer an episode, yeah. So anyway, this is the Cheech and Manny show. This has been one spooky episode, and until next spooky one.
Definitely. Take care, man.
All right, Cheech. Thank you, man. This
Yeah.
is great.
All right. Have
All
a good
right,
night. Later.
it's fun.